showing up authentically and confidently. What does that actually mean to you, Deb?
Yeah, I was thinking that too. To me, it means you are the boss of you.
Mm, yeah, I like
You make
that.
decisions that work definitely for others, but it's actually you. It works for you. You
Yeah,
are the boss of you. You make your decisions. You go, this feels right. This doesn't feel right. And you actually, there's no people pleaser in there. There's saying no freely,
yeah,
would you say? And being uh okay with your decisions. Like, so not just going, okay, I'm going to do this, but actually I feel really bad and I shouldn't be doing this, and that whole mindset wobble chatter. It's
yeah.
actually, no, I'm going to do this, and this is my decision.
Debz is a stressologist. She will stretch your mindset to think bigger than you've ever thought before, with follow-through techniques that are realistic and achievable to blow any fear out of your mind. Moira is a mindset cultivator. She will help you align your personal trinity of self-trust, inner awareness, and self-confidence so that you discover and share your unique gifts and purpose. Together, their goal with these conversations is to share how our inclinations do not always work in our best interest and to provide the knowledge to leverage the gifts that already exist within each one of us. Their desire is to help you learn how to access the habits and behaviors that will lead to positive change and your best quality of life. Welcome to your deliciously motivated mindset.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, dear listeners. Welcome, dear Deb.
Hello.
Hello, my dear. Here we are with another one of our deliciously motivated mindset conversations podcasts. This one, oh, this one's going to be a good one. I mean, they always are, but of course they are, because otherwise we wouldn't talk about them. Today we're going to be talking about showing up authentically and confidently. I actually just feel like sitting up a wee bit straight when
I
when
literally just did that when you described it. I
yeah,
went, oh, shoulders
yeah,
back. Yes, I've got this. Yes.
yes, yes. Yes, so I'm looking forward to what unfolds and comes up in this conversation. But before we get into this, if you've listened to us before, you know that we'd like to do this little check-in, this a little assessment tool. If you haven't been here before, we do this little assessment tool. This is called, I like to think of it as our PEMS check-in. And what we're doing is we're just doing a little assessment. Where are we feeling? How are we feeling? Physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. I think of them as the four pillars that kind of influence and dictate or show us how well we're doing. And sometimes, we can feel a little bit physically discombobulated, and that might affect us on all of the other three pillars. So that's why I'm saying it's just an assessment tool, because it's not a thing to beat yourself up or criticize yourself, but it's such a beautiful way to stop ruminating about things. If you're feeling tired and you kind of check in and say, okay, on a scale of 0 to 10, but this is what we use is a scale of 0 to 10. 0 is where I'm feeling totally fulfilled and capable and zen and peaceful. And 10 is the opposite end of that spectrum, feeling completely discombobulated and chaotic. But you see, sometimes when you just press pause and say, okay, so on a scale of 0 to 10, where am I feeling? And you might say, oh, I'm actually at a 6. Oh, and rather than get into a story, maybe it's just because you're feeling a bit tired. Maybe it's because you've got a lot of things on your to-do list. But as soon as you get that, then it's like, okay, that's where I am. And you can then take steps forward authentically and confidently.
Yes, yes.
Yes. So all that being said, so what we do is we assess and give ourselves a number now, and we encourage you to write it down. And then we encourage you to have just a check-in at the halfway point, and then we'll all check in at the end. Of course, our intent with these conversations is to meet you wherever you are and gently, kindly nurturingly bring you down closer to that 0. So all that being said, dear Deb, where are you?
2.5.
2.5?
Yeah. I keep yawning.
Aha.
And I'm like, what?
What's that?
I had over 9 hours sleep last night. And
Good for
I'm
you.
like, I don't know, and I'm yawning and I'm like, even though I've been up for an hour and a half. Yeah. So I'm like, this is odd. So there's something clearly there. Yeah.
Something there to discover.
Niggle. Yeah.
And it's funny you said 2.5. I'm a 1.5. I just have a
Oh,
little croakiness in my throat, but that's going to be me showing up authentically with this husky voice.
the old radio voice. How it
Yes.
goes.
Yes. So listeners, it's as simple as that. Give yourself a number, and then we're going to get going on this conversation about showing up authentically and confidently. We do encourage you to have a note-taking device, pen, pencil, piece of paper, electronic device, whatever it is, because we intend to give you lots of tips and inspiration on this whole idea. So, showing up authentically and confidently, what does that actually mean to you, Deb?
Yeah, I was thinking that too. To me, it means you are the boss of you.
Yeah, I like
You make
that.
decisions that work definitely for others, but it's actually you. It works for you. You
Yeah,
are the boss of you. You make your decisions. You go, this feels right. This doesn't feel right. And you actually, there's no people pleaser in there. There's saying no freely,
yeah,
would you say? And being okay with your decisions. Like, so not just going, okay, I'm going to do this, but actually I feel really bad and I shouldn't be doing this, and that whole mindset wobble chatter. It's
yeah,
actually, no, I'm going to do this and this is my decision.
yeah. So you're doing it and saying whatever comes, it's going to be the right thing for me.
Yeah.
And
This is a perfect, what is it? This is the perfect time for me right here, right now.
yeah, yeah. I like
Yeah.
that. So that to me that's our tip number 1, is to always, always remember that you are the boss of you.
Yeah.
And I can, as I even say that, I can think of people saying, "Oh yes, but this my boss says this, or this person says this, or my kids do that." And
Mm,
yeah,
mm.
but you are still the boss of you. You can press pause. You can then choose how are you going to show up in that conversation, or in that when a person's demanding or requesting something from you. You still get to choose how you're going to show up. Right? Are you going to show up saying, well, I have to, and I hate doing this, and I don't want to do that? Or are you going to just say, I'm choosing to do this? Right?
Yeah. And I think that's the other thing too, because when you show up authentically and confidently, but I also, hang on, when you show up authentically and confidently, people don't question you.
Right.
You've got so much like, no, this is what I'm going to do. And it's only you get questioned when you have that little level of,
The
um,
wobble, like you said, the
yeah,
wobble. Yeah.
yeah, is this the right thing? So I find when you actually own it, people don't question that. They're like, oh, okay, yep, right. And it's not owning from an arrogance way, I'm going to do this and I'm not going to listen to anybody. Like, it's not that. It's actually, no, this feels right for me. This is the best option I have right here, right now.
Mhm.
It would be my thing, which is funny because you said that's tip number 1. And I was actually thinking PEMS was tip number 1, because our PEMS it's just a number. And each day can be different depending on
Mhm.
our PEMS type thing. So I think that's the other thing, is also going, okay, yesterday I was so great. I could say no to people. I could get myself in my zone.
Yeah.
But today I can't. What's going on? Oh no, this is not good, and going, oh, hang on, it's because I haven't eaten, or I haven't slept, or I've got chaos, your 4 pillars are out of order. So it's not that your PEMS is an excuse, but it's a test to go, oh, that makes
It
sense.
gives clarity, or yeah, it gives insight for sure.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
and so, but also knowing it's just a number and it can move with anything.
Yeah.
No, it's that number is not concrete. So, um, yeah, that's a tip too on its own. When you're talking PEMS, I'm like, that's the tip. That's the tip. It's just a number. Just write it down. And it just gives you another explanation that allows your brain to go, oh, no wonder I'm feeling this. I've eaten 4 packets of potato chips. No wonder I've got no drive. Or no wonder I'm beating myself up because I've eaten a big cake of chocolate or something. Potato chips, chocolate. Okay, yeah.
Okay, so there's where Deb's attention's going.
Yeah, but you know, it's just like, okay, well, that makes sense then. You're like, oh, that makes sense because I've had no sleep. Or that makes sense because I've got my boss is doing stuff at work that I don't feel in line with, or whatever.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, totally get that. Okay, so then that means I'm into tip number 3 then.
Yeah, we haven't even started. We've got the tips out there. Yes, we have. Yes, tip number 3.
So what the tip that I actually wrote down was to say, don't ask for permission. However, I know sometimes people do. And so what I'm inviting you is that if you feel like you have to get somebody's approval or permission to make a certain choice or go a certain direction, then maybe that is a piece of guidance, a little tap on your shoulder that you're not actually accessing that authentic boss of you, right? And I'm putting my hands over my heart as I say that, because
I'm laughing because that's my tip is like what you're saying. And it is that heart. You
yeah,
are the boss. Back at you again. Yeah.
right. But you see, the authentic, powerful, unique, gifted you is already in existence. You do not have to do something or aspire to some level to actually access it. It's there.
Mm.
And that's why I really do encourage all of my students and clients know that I do this all the time. Hands over your heart. And just sometimes it's just hands over your heart and just sit and breathe and stay present. And maybe the answer or the decision doesn't, come in a big booming voice in your head, but calming your nervous system to that degree allows you to boost your confidence, but it also allows you to tap into that inner guidance, right?
Mm. Well, I'd written down your intuition, and your intuition will tell you.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you're just saying. And you say, oh, what do you say? Intuition's a
Inside
inside.
job.
Yeah. And that's it, because your body's going to tell you if this feels right or not.
Yeah,
And
because that's my question. And how do I feel about myself here? It's a
yeah.
beautiful question to really open that channel of getting that guidance from your core, right?
Yeah. And just even that, your mind may wander, people. How do I feel about my body here? Oh, this is ridiculous. This is not going to work. Da da da. And your body might go on a marathon. Your mind might go on a marathon. But just trust that process, and the hand on the heart. Just for me, hand on heart just grounds me back to how do I feel about myself here. Actually, I feel a little bit of a wobble, and that's where you can jump back to your PEMS and go, actually, you know what? I'm a 2, or I'm an 8, or I'm discombobulated and I'm way outside the realm. And I will say, if you are, so maybe the tip is the energy you put in is the energy you're going to get out. If you're not feeling, if you're not feeling up for it, it's like it's like a bad fruit. You put a piece of bad fruit in the fruit bowl, it starts to affect everybody, and before you know it, it's affected everyone, every fruit in there. So if you're not feeling up for it, you're better to say no. You're better to say this doesn't, if your energy is, oh, I don't want to do it, I have to do it, I've got to do it, I should do it, all that language again, and it's like people have to push you to get you to do something. There's all the energy you have depleted already before you even get to do the task, whatever that is.
Yeah.
So if you're feeling that energy, don't go. I mean, I'm a firm believer in my partner that if one of us are a little bit out of sorts, I don't want to go anywhere socially. Like with her, for me, and business, like if she's out of sorts, I don't want to take her, because it's not fair for her, me, or anyone else. And the same vice versa. If I'm not up for it, she's like, I'll go. Okay. I'm just, my head's full, and I don't want to put on a smile, and don't want to do the fake stuff. I just want to, and it's true, it's showing up authentically and confidently, because you can only put on the fake stuff for so long, and the fake persona catches up with you in the end. So so if you don't feel it's right, then that people pleaser, you don't have to do that. And it's having the right people around as well.
Right. So it's giving yourself permission to leave or to get out of situations and environments. Because
Yeah.
and it's funny that you're saying that, because before we pressed record here, we were just talking about we canceled a recording date, and it was because I wasn't feeling very well. I and it's like, okay, on a scale of 0 to 10, I probably felt like a 12.
Yeah.
But you see, I could have showed up authentically. I'm tired, I've got a headache, I don't feel good.
Yeah.
But when we want to show up and be of service and be um making a difference in the work that we do, showing up authentically can be, I need to reschedule. That
Well, we've
is
had
you
that
being
schedule.
authentic, right?
We've had that date since, what are we, 2019. We've same day, same time,
Yep,
each time we know that. And
yep.
there has been times we've both had to go,
It's just not going
clash.
to work. Yeah, yeah.
And having that, I guess the words trust, also trust
Well,
that the other
that's what I wrote down. Yes,
trust that other people are going to go, actually, yeah, we can do this, because even if we had to do rescheduled, um, you find time.
yes,
It's so much easier. But at that time, you're like, I just can't. All I can see is discombobulation in my head,
exactly.
my body, my
Yeah,
surroundings, or whatever. My internet's not working, or whatever.
yeah.
No, we have to. So it's about being, I guess, flexible for you and flexible for others. But it is the trust.
The
Yeah.
trust, and then that's what allows for the genuine flow. Like you were saying about doing the pretend stuff. I actually can't do the
Oh,
pretend stuff.
oh,
And it's funny because people used to say this to me in the corporate world. When I worked in the corporate world, somebody would come in and ask me a question about their business or something. And they used to say I couldn't hide anything from them because they could see the answer on my face.
yeah. I don't have a very good poker face.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
either. I was like,
I'm like,
yeah,
why bother? Nah, why bother? Just they need to read the signs, read the room. Yeah. I struggle with that. I struggle. I like, and then I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, no, just no,
no,
Deborah,
just
because
being, well, you can be kind. You can be a
oh
kind, but and then say some of the
yeah,
tough truths.
yeah. And
Yes.
well, it's your truth. It's your truth. It's
Mhm.
what feels right for you. Yeah. And that goes back to that tip number one. You're the boss of you again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So the thing about this trust part too, I think it's really important. You've heard me say before, I know Deb has heard me say before, trust is an inside job.
I just wrote inside job.
So, but the thing about that is that, when you're really telling yourself the truth, that's what being authentic is, telling yourself the truth. So, if you're supposed to go somewhere or supposed to speak to something or do something, and you feel into yourself, and you kind of go, oh, ugh, there's this an ugh in you,
Yeah.
then don't go. That now here's the trust part though, is that even in the example that we were just giving about me saying, hey Deb, I can't make it this week, I trust it's all going to work out okay. And it
Yeah.
does. It does. Right. So it's not about, you see, the other part that's coming up for me as I'm sort of feeling into this is that it's about finding the right balance between being and doing. And sometimes we can get too caught up in I have to keep doing and doing and doing and doing and doing and going. And well, I said I was going to go, so I have to go, kind of thing. But if that's derailing what's right for you, you are the boss of you, and you don't want to be depleting yourself. And you trust that by saying, no, it's just not going to work for me. The amount of times I've done stuff like that, the people come and go, oh yeah, it actually doesn't work for me either. Right?
It's that word obligation too, because when you're
Yeah.
obligated to do something, you're already putting in, I'm going to say heavy, hard energy, and heavy, hard energy means it's heavy and it's hard. Everything just becomes hard when you're obligated, and your head goes on a marathon of discombobulation. Like you know, oh, I've got to do this and have to do this and but yeah, when you
Don't
just
you
when you talk
think
about
the obligation comes around because of people pleasing, though? Don't you think?
yeah, 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 and your obligation today might be different to your obligation tomorrow. You know, as a parent, you're obligated to do the best you can with your child. Yes,
Yeah.
like that's
Yes.
that's a common thing.
Yes.
But what is the best?
The best is
What
going to change each day, right? We've talked about
and
this before.
and according to your PIMS, it's going to
Yes.
change again. I
Yeah.
mean, I know when I was a parent, well, I was a parent, I still am a parent.
Still am a part.
She's 24 years. I definitely haven't let that one go when I was a parent. But even as a younger parent, like I would do things differently now because my PIMS is different. You know, back then I was 100% in, well, not 100%, I was 99% in survival mode a lot of the
But
time.
your wisdom changes. It's not just your PIMS, it's your wisdom and your experience, right?
Yeah, and then the wisdom allows you to go, okay, well, I require sleep if I'm going to do this, or I require to eat healthy, or okay, we've got a big day tomorrow, I need to prep. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on. And I think that's that obligation. What is that obligation yours, or is it because someone else has given it to you?
I know, because that's the thing is that if obligation is coming up, I think that's another time to just pause with your hands on your heart and say, is that true? If I'm
Well, the
saying, oh
moment
my
the
God, I
obligation
have to
comes
do
up,
this,
yeah,
is
it's time
that
to
true?
pull back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
You know, something that I just thought of when you were saying about you as a parent and looking at things that you did, the old version of you compared to what you would, I think
The
it's
girl
really
in my
important.
20s to the girl in my 50s, yep, there's a lot of difference now.
But I think it's so important for the version of you here and now to celebrate what you have done, right?
Mm,
Because
yeah.
it's celebrating. I think that it's like, yeah, sure, 30 years ago I would have done it this, that, and the next thing. But that's fine. Celebrate what
But
you
it's
did
no
do.
regret, I guess it is
Yes.
too. Yeah,
Yeah,
appreciate what it is, but it's no regrets. Like actually, and yes, there are things I would do differently now,
of course.
but I definitely wouldn't take back the way I brought my daughter up. Like I
Right.
wouldn't, because she would not be who
Who
she is,
she
and
is. Yeah.
I would not be who I am.
Yeah.
And for me, but yeah, it is that celebrate.
Yeah.
Yeah, what you've
Celebrate
done and what you haven't done. Whoops.
what you have. Yes. And also know that even if there can be this little chatter like I should have done this, should have. Maybe even just saying thank you to that dialogue within you can help you confidently say, maybe I could have done it differently, but I didn't. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Well,
Right?
that's that. Thank you. I've got that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I've got this.
Yeah.
And just saying that to yourself. Thank you. I've got this. Hand on heart. Thank you. I've got this. Just allows it to go. Yeah. Yeah. Actually. Yep. And it's like you're sending to the universe or whatever, or telling your soul whatever. But when you say thank you, I've got this. Even if you haven't,
Mhm.
that 80%. So say 20% you haven't really got it in your head. You're like, I don't know how it's going to look, but I'm trusting, and that 20% is trust, and 80% you fully believe you've got it. The universe is going to respond with that 100%. Okay, she's got this. She's got this. We'll just wait and see. Like, okay, trust. And it is that, yeah, celebrate what you've done or not done, or
Right.
what you've got. I've got this. It does
And
go
then,
back to the trust.
but then it does go back to trust. But then you see, even if it is the discombobulated voice in your head saying, "Oh, I should have done this, should have done this," and you say, "I've got this," and this little
Yeah.
voice comes up saying, "Yeah,
Have
really,
you?
really."
We have this thing in New Zealand called Tui, Tui, and it's actually a beer. And it says, and it's literally like that. You say things like, I've got this, and people go, Tui, meaning, really? Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. And it's
Pull the
like,
other one. That's like
yeah,
that. Pull the other one.
yeah, that's the one. So so in New Zealand, we often say Tui when someone says something, you're like, Tui. And it's just one of those catchphrases that's really stuck on. So yeah, I've got this, Tui. Hang on. Yeah.
But you see, right there, it's so important to realize, okay, whether I can or can't, or did or didn't, what can I do right here, right now? And sometimes that might just be focus on my breath,
Yeah.
or go for a walk, or go for a nap. Do something. Change the energy state. Because when you were saying about the universe, we are all co-creators with the universe. And the universe is actually communicating with us, to us, through us on our own energy. And so when we have the energy of, I got this, but your head says, oh, sure. But your energy says, you know what, come what may, I'm coming through this. I'm getting through
Yeah.
this, right? Because that's the truth. We are always going to get through whatever situation we are in, because the truth is we would not be in that situation if we weren't able to come through it. And sometimes that's all you can hold on to. Like, I have no idea what's the right route through this mess or this chaos or this discombobulation, but I know that I'm coming through it. I know the universe got my back. And I can actually boost my own confidence to say, just because I cannot see the route out doesn't mean it's not there. And now I'm going to just focus on calming my nervous system, or breathing, or writing down the ideas that are coming to mind, or writing out, I've got this, I've got this. That's your lines.
Oh, yeah, I've got this. I've got this. I love that you said, what can I do right here? And that just made me think about that
Self-soothing kit.
Yeah, it's like a self-soothing kit. Self-soothing kit, which is like, I reference glitter bomb. It's what lights you up, what feels right for you. And we've talked about this in the last few episodes about that self-soothing kit, soothing kit. Can't even say it. Okay, the glitter bomb kit. We'll just say Deborah's one.
Deborah's one is the glitter bomb kit. It's mine is the self-soothing kit.
It sounds like I'm saying shelf soothing kit in my head. Like it's not something on the shelf, it's to be used daily, Deborah. And that kit is when your head is so discombobulated you can't even think what to do.
Yeah.
And I love that you can have like a little thing of, on your computer, on your notes, and your wherever. It's like, oh, I can't even think right now. I'm so angry with life, or I've got a headache and I just can't even get any clarity around anything. Having that self-soothing kit, glitter bomb, yes, you can actually go back. So what can I do right here? I'm just going to pick a page and it's going to say, hand on heart, and remind yourself you live here.
Yeah.
And that's, and the perfect answer will come out when you open that. Or go stand outside. Well, it's cold outside. Okay, I'm going to go stand outside. Like, don't argue with it. But it's whatever feels right. So what can I do right here? And having those
reminders, the reminders and the techniques. Yeah.
It takes your headspace away. It's like, oh, I can just get my self-soothing kit. Really, I'm gonna have to practice that. Self-soothing kit. I'm gonna have to get my test, my kit, what it is in there.
So the things that you put in your kit, and this is something that you do when you're not feeling discombobulated and stressed. And my own kit evolves and changes, and I have like little uplifting, inspirational sayings all over. I have crystals. I have my jewelry is a large part of my self-soothing kit. Even my cat's part of it.
Yeah. Well, I love that. I love that you actually said your cat, because animals are a-holes, and they're lovely too. They've got both sides.
Well, they show us unconditional love.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they do. There's a peace in your heart. Only if you like animals. If you don't like animals, then that's not going to work for you, by the way.
You might maybe you can have a stuffed animal if you don't like animals.
Yeah. Yeah, but I love that. It's just it's whatever works for you. And today's one may not work for you.
That's why I suggest to my clients to have a variety of things. And that's why I call it a self-soothing kit, because you want to keep putting the things into it that resonate. And that's why I'm saying doing it when you're feeling calm and uplifted is way easier than waiting until you're challenged or in chaos, because it's not going to work.
A quick wee message before we get back to this episode. You can get access to a special gift Moira and Debz have put together for you. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift. When you sign up, you'll receive instant access to an inner peace kit and the 30 Days of Wisdom program, both of which is intended to help you feel deliciously motivated right away. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift.
No, you can't. You can't. No. What am I going to do? I need to put together that self-soothing kit now. I'm going to do it right now. Like, well, now's not the time to be doing it because you're not even going to think about things that are uplifting for you. It can pull you out at any time.
I've shared this with you before, that one of the things that I have in my self-soothing kit in my office space is the yogi tea, which is, I don't know if they have this
yes.
in New
No, we
Zealand.
don't. And I've looked for it and I can't import it here. I've looked for it because I was like, that's
Darn.
good. Yeah.
But anytime I have a cup of tea and I like the tab, then I keep it. But I just picked one up to share with you. And this is beautiful. It says, gratitude is not about what is received. It's about how you receive what is there.
Oh,
Isn't that cool?
yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. I
do
love
too.
those. Yeah, we don't have those in New Zealand. Come on.
We need to
people.
start a campaign of getting yogi teas to New Zealand.
Yeah, I love that. But you see, even just that, having that in your self-soothing kit,
Yeah,
like just those little things
absolutely.
make a big difference.
There's something has become more and more known about is, and I think they're called worry rings or anti-anxiety rings, spinner rings. I have one on my thumb, and it's actually very calming, that you can actually that's a beautiful one to have as a self-soothing kit. And there are spinner rings or anti-anxiety rings, and they're pretty. Mine has the sign of the moon all over it.
It is of course. But by the way, it's not purple, people. Just
Yeah,
gonna
it's
say.
not purple. Darn.
But you see,
Couldn't
even I know I have a. It's funny you're talking about that. I have a glitter steering wheel. Now I know people are going to go, "You have." I'm like, yes, I have a glitter steering wheel.
She
That little
does.
cover. I do. I have a glitter steering wheel, and I love when I'm driving, just even rubbing my hands across
Right,
it,
yes.
because it feels a nice. There's this whole texture feeling, and just feels nice. So I know when I'm driving if I'm a little bit frustrated or anything, because by the way, I'm human and I have emotions, people. I'm not perfect. I don't sit in a zero all the time, and I don't want to sit in a zero all the time. I'm just saying that, people. If you have
Well, you'd
any,
be pretty vanilla if you did anyway. So
if you really think I'm that type of person who sits at a zero all the time, then you're completely delusional. Because my number's usually higher than Moira's every week anyway. But I love that I can just rub my hand across that and it just grounds me. It's like putting my hand on my heart. It grounds me back to, oh, I can feel this. I
yeah,
can feel this. It's giving me something different. So
it's a
I love
beautiful
that.
way to get you into the present moment.
Yeah, I love it. And of course it's glitter and the sun shines on it and probably ricochets and blinds everybody else who's driving. You probably, I don't know. But it works for me. No one's complained about it yet. No one's followed me and complained about my steering wheel. But I love that because it just gives me the little feeling of being in the presence.
Yeah. And
back
that's
here,
the
right?
key piece around it, is that we talk about Deb's glitter kit and my self-soothing kit. It's so important for us to do it on our own, because the things that I like and that light me up aren't going to necessarily work for Deb, and vice versa. And so it's really important to try different things, to try a worry stone or a specific type of crystal or a steering wheel cover or a spinner ring, and evolve it over time, because by doing that, you do actually get in touch with your own authenticity. right?
Well, I was just going to say that's actually that's showing up authentically and confidently,
Yeah.
you know. And you're right, because I have a builder and I said to him, sprinkle yourself in glitter before you go on the building site when you've got chaos. And he was like, Deborah, you are one weird. I won't the rest of it. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I'm not going to sprinkle myself in glitter. And I said, you visualize it. He goes, I'm not going to do that and go onto the building site. He goes, you're just a weirdo, and all these other things. And I was laughing. So I gave him 3 options to protect his energy and, ultimately. And then the next day he went, you wouldn't believe it. He said, I've been doing it for like a couple of days now, a couple of days now. And he goes, and the only one that works is a sprinkling and glitter. And I'm roaring with laughter, visualizing this builder going onto a building site, sprinkling himself in glitter.
I love
Literally.
it. I love it.
Yeah. And he just says, I can't believe the other 2 don't work. I'm like, well, you manifested that. He's like, I know you did. You told me the only one that was going to work, but but I love that. And now he shows up authentically and confidently at work when he sprinkles himself in glitter. Now, he would have thought that was the most, and he said, this is stupid. I was like, okay, but try it. Let's
Try it
just
anyway.
see
Yeah.
until it doesn't work anymore. And that's what I love about that kit, is because some days some things will work, some days they won't. You go, you know what, I'm just going to do this. And it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay, but it's having that trust that that kit is going to help you. And so that's getting you to live your authentic and confident life.
Absolutely. Because the thing is that, and I think it's important also to have things that actually hit you at your different senses. What I mean by that is you may want to have some tapping routines, EFT tapping routines in there. You might want to have a certain type of music or certain types of guided meditations or visualizations or certain techniques like the hand on the heart, certain types of breathing techniques. I've shared before on previous conversations with you that one of my favorite things to do to lift me out of a funk is to listen to babies laughing.
Oh, yes. Whoops, sorry, I don't mean that. Yeah.
So you
It's
can just
so
go
good.
for a search on YouTube and there's some brilliant, brilliant ones that
You
even
can't.
describing that, it just makes me beam from ear to
Well,
ear.
that's that fruit bowl thing, isn't it? Exactly, because you can't stay in that funk when you
Yeah.
listen to baby laugh. It just instantly changes. They've put another little a baby in that fruit bowl who's laughing. It
Yeah.
does have the ripple effect of everybody. Yeah, that's it. That's I love the baby laughing. I think I know we're coming near our time, but I want to say your body. I just want to reiterate, your body will give you the signs. Like
Yes.
when you get a headache, your body's telling you something's going on
Yes.
internally.
Yeah.
There's a lot of chaos going on. Your body's going to show, oh, I'm feeling a little bit uneasy in my tummy. I've got butterflies. Is this nerves or is this a warning? Or what is
Yeah.
your body? Your body is greater than your head. Your head, but your body's going to show you more than your head, because your head can tell you to swipe left or right, but your body's going to go, pull back. So it's about being present, I think, listening to your body. Your body's going to say, yep, let's go, or not. So be aware, and those signs will come up. When you've got a headache, when the physical symptoms come in, there's quite a few. That's like a red flag. The pink flags have already happened and you've missed it.
Yeah. But it's always also with that, I would add that everything is for you, right? Even the headache is for you. And so sometimes we can get too used to just like, and I'm going to speak for myself. I have ignored my own body's wisdom for a long, long time, just because it's like, nope, I'm not going to pay attention to that headache or that physical pain or that stiffness or that tightness, because I have to get up and go and do these things. And that was also because I was people pleasing.
Yeah.
But it's very much to welcome it in. And that's why doing the PEMS check-in is very valuable in this regard, right? It's just, oh, there's something a little bit off, and what's the gift? This is for me.
I think signs happen. Signs happen in front of us. And I was just trying to find I saw a quote the other day, just before we jump into the wrapping up. And it said, the therapist said, you saw the red flags though, right? Like you saw the red flags and the person goes, I thought it was a carnival. And I just roared with laughter.
I
I was
like
like,
that. Oh,
I
they
love
were
it because
into glitter bomb mode.
I know I thought it was a carnival. Yes, and so we see these when we show up authentically and confidently. We're actually more present, and we see things around that we may not have seen before. But the more present we are,
Mhm.
the more we're going to recognize signs, and to allow us to be that authentic and confident person who can move through life
Yeah.
with
Grace
grace and
and
ease.
ease.
Yeah.
Snap.
Yeah, but I was just trying to find that. I love that about the circus. I thought it was a carnival. It's like, yeah, yep, I saw the red flags.
That's
Um,
cute.
Now we've got so much here, and I've got so many more tips to share, and I'm sure Moira has, but we have to wrap up or we're going to get ourselves in trouble here. Who are we going to get ourselves in trouble with? Spotify, Apple. Because we keep it under that hour, Definitely you won't get in trouble with Moira or Debz.
Nope. Never.
Yeah, no, not at all. Let's wrap this up. And if you didn't get your tips if you didn't get your note-taking device at the start, grab it now, because we're just going to give you a rundown very quickly on our podcast, Showing Up Authentically and Confidently.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck to us, because I will say my tips are all over the place, and
Yep.
there was so much given. I don't know if I did an asterisk beside each one. So this is why we pair up. This is why Moira and I pair up. I've got your back, she's got mine. So Moira, number one that we had, showing up authentically and confidently.
Well, we kind of skipped around, but we did. The first one was our PEMS. The checking in. Where are you? How are you? Physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. It's one of the best ways to really get in touch with what's your bandwidth, what's your capacity, how are you, and know that it shifts and changes throughout our day, but it shifts and changes day to day also.
Yeah.
So it's very important part to start that.
It's just a number.
Just a number. And it doesn't stick, doesn't stay.
You know, I think that's the other thing, is every day can be different. And I always say, not always say, I say, you know, then nothing's set in concrete.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it is in concrete, you can smash it down, but it's not solid. I know at the start I was a 2.5. I'm not going to stay at 2.5 all day for everything that's happening. Like it just moves and flows. And I think once you recognize that, oh, it's just a number, that's my PEMS, then you can move on.
But then it's about adapting to what's going on. Because, if you did your PEMS check-in and you're exhausted, and then you went and said, oh, I'm just going to go for a nap, then you completely recalibrate for your day.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes.
Then the next one we had, that's right, because 1 and 2 were a bit like that. Yep. You are the boss of you, reminding you that you make decisions that are in alignment with your soul. You're the one who's got to go to bed at night and sleep at night or during the day with your decisions. So you are the boss of you.
And it might help you to just put your hand on your hips when you're saying that.
I love that. Yes. Yes.
The next one we got into was I said this thing about not asking for permission. Mm-hmm. And if you're finding that you're asking for permission, like, is it okay for me to do this? Or will you approve of me if I do it that way? Then that actually is a little bit of an internal tap to say you are actually, maybe you're not authentically being you, or you're allowing your confidence to be dictated by somebody outside of you. This is inside. Being authentic and confident comes from within you. So if you feel like you're having to ask for permission, could be a time to reset and recalibrate. No people pleasing.
Well, you now I don't know if this was I've got a whole lot here and I don't even know if they're all tips, but I just wrote a story down. It's how do I feel about myself here?
Yeah.
And I love that hand on heart. How do I feel about myself here? Mm-hmm. And sit and feel and breathe it. And just that, you'll know your answer will come in straight away and go, no, that's not the one I want. No, it's not doesn't go like that. That's the answer that comes in. That's it. So it's that, how do I feel about myself here? Actually, I feel a little bit discombobulated, or I feel
a bit wobbly.
Yeah. Then or I feel, I don't know, there's a bit of uncertainty there. Like just be honest with yourself. You can't be honest with yourself. No one else is going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So actually, I don't feel the best right now. Okay. but yeah, I love that. And that's when we were talking about intuition,
Yeah. So
you know.
really feeling into your body, because that is that question that I say, that how do I feel about myself here? It's the opening. It's opening the channel, or opening the guidance to say
Mm,
what's going on. And if
yeah.
if we're saying, how do I feel about myself here? And we say, well, I feel uncertain. Well, then maybe it's because you don't have all the information. You still need some intel. Maybe it's not the right time. And so you don't kind of say, okay, keep going, right?
It's okay the way it is.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, if I need more information, okay, well, that's what it is. It is what it is, but
Yeah.
it is what it is, really. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we talked about trust. So I don't know if that's the new tip or not, but trust being an inside job, trust yourself, trust the others, trust the bigger picture, trust, when you're, how do I feel about myself here? Trust that the answer is actually the truth right now.
Yeah.
Trust that, because that is your truth at that time. Yeah.
And trust then, like in that we discussed that me canceling because how do I feel about myself here, about to go and record a podcast, I don't feel very well. Okay. So I trust that I'm going to say it doesn't work for me, and that I'm going to find the time to make up for the one that we missed. And it
Well, I
works,
think,
right? So
yeah,
there's no kind of argument about that.
no, and I think what came in just then, I know we're doing the tips, but by the way, people, we're not. We are. But in saying that, I think about the 4 agreements. Don't take anything personally.
Yes, of course.
Don't make assumptions, and that's that trust. So with Moira saying, I can't do it because I'm not well, it's like, well, last week we didn't, by the way, have an argument the week before, but last week we had an argument, and this is it really this? And I can overthink and run that whole thing, but no, it's not, so don't make assumptions, don't take anything personally, like.
And then always
And
do
feel
your
as
best has
well.
been a vibe that's come through a lot of the tips that we've already covered. It's just do your best.
Yeah.
Understanding it's going to shift and change, because you showing up authentically and confidently is not going to be at the same level 24/7 for every single
Yeah.
situation and circumstance, right?
Yeah.
So after that, the one that I have here is the energy that you put in is what you get out. And so that again is interweaving with this follow your intuition and trust that you are in the right place at the right time, doing the right things. And sometimes you can have a little conversation in the back of your head saying, oh, that's not enough, or it should be more, or just push through this. Even just having that kind of awareness and saying thank you, but this is what feels right at this point, right? And sometimes this energy you put in is what you get, is that if you start having like maybe little sharp words or sharp exchanges, that it's that might actually be a little pink flag or red flag saying
Accountable.
you need to calm your nervous system. And right there is a gift. Okay, so if getting a wee bit jangly around me, then I'm just going to bring the peace in me, within me, because that's it's like creating the joy, the gratitude, the appreciation, the calmness within us that we wish to see outside, and not making it go the other way around. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. There's so much on this podcast. There's so much, but the other one, the word that came up with me with the next tip was obligation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's your obligation or others' obligation. And the beautiful one is, it's literally, is this true?
Yeah.
Is this a story that I've created from somewhere? Like, is this true? Am I obligated to do this? And I understand if you're working for a job for people and they pay your money and they pay you a salary, that you have to pay your mortgage or your kids or your food, like anything. And that's your survival. That's your only way. And I understand that obligation there. But if it feels wrong for you, it doesn't, like I generally say, you have to put that money aside and go, okay, I have to get out of this.
Right.
Or you have to look at something, because if it's getting to that point that you're doing it for the money just to survive, and I'm going to offer right now, please reach out to Moira or I, because this is it's not a healthy place to be if
Yep.
you're left in that space every day. And it's like, oh, I've got to go to work and I've got to do this, and it goes against my morals and ethics, and I'm obligated to do this because, you know, and there's a whole marathon of stories that you've got. So if you're getting to that point, you just have to go, is this true? Am I obligated? And if you're like, yes, then please reach out to us, because obligation is one that will really screw up your internals. That's a nicer way of putting it.
But it's actually abdicating of the power that we all have of rewriting our story. So even if you're in a situation like you're saying about the obligations, yes, I have to pay my mortgage and I have to pay these bills. Yes, but you actually get to rewrite your story and say, I get to do this. I'm choosing to do this. And of course, by changing your energy, you might find that the energy at the job that's sucking your soul changes, or that you find a better fit and find another one, right? But yeah, starting internally first.
Yeah, and I'm going to throw in another tip in here, is you're not alone in this journey.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know that wasn't one there, but to show up authentically and confidently, you don't have to do this alone. I know Moira and I are here, but there's a lot of other people out there who are there for you as well.
Definitely.
Ways, but just ensure that those people have your best interest at heart. Like,
Yeah.
I know we are unattached. I can't say we're unattached to your story. That sounds a little bit rude in my head. But we're invested in doing what's best for you, and your body and your words are going to tell us what's best for you. So we guide you in that place. We don't go, okay, you've got to leave there. You know, we're
no,
like, okay,
would never do that. No.
No, we're going to guide you to what's best for you. And if you're going to leave, let's find out how you can replace that money, how you can replace that, whatever it is, and uplift you. We're not going to, I just want to.
No,
you're not
you would find that whatever Deb or I guide you with, it feels right to you. Going back to that, my favorite question, how do I feel about myself here? And I would be encouraging you to do that, because you will feel confident and authentic and in alignment and on track, all of those things. The next one I have, and it was right on the heels of Deb talking about the obligation, was I was talking about celebrate what you've done, appreciate that. Yes, maybe you can look at what you did and didn't do 5 years, 10 years, even yesterday, and say, oh, I should have done that, or I would have done it all different. But appreciate what you did do, and appreciate that those choices that you made back then, whenever back then is, has created the beautiful soul that you are sitting here listening to us. And getting a giggle from our tips here.
and it's that Moira said, I've got this.
Mm-hmm.
I've got this, with celebrating what you've done or not done, but also I've got this. This. Yeah. That's when I talked about the Tui beer, like, yeah, right. But it is that Tui New Zealand beer, I was just going to say. But I've got this. Even just saying that, there's a sense of, within you.
There's a calming of the nervous system right there.
Right there, straight away, instantly. So the next tip we had was, what can I do right here?
Yeah.
Like when you're into that discombobulation wobble, whether it's a 10 or beyond, we go back to our PMs, or whether it's a 1 or even a 2. What can I do right here? There's always questions to be asked. And that's where we talked about a self-soothing kit.
There, she did it. She did it.
Shut my eyes and self-soothing kit. Or Deb's glitter bomb. And it's whatever that works for you. If it's lighting a candle, if it's going outside and touching the grass, if it's listening to a podcast, if it's blowing your nose with a nice tissue that smells nice, or it's whatever works for you. If it's hand on heart, if it's just checking in with your PEMs, whatever that is, it doesn't.
Twirling your spinner ring.
Yeah, getting a glitter steering wheel.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, getting some yogi teas and having a beautiful quote. Whatever it is, what can I do right here? And I love the actual kit that when your head is discombobulated, sometimes you can't even think of anything. Like, what am I going to do? Moira and Deb said do something. What's a flipping glitter? What's a self-soothing? There's nothing to do. You can't literally
go and pick one of those reminders.
Yeah, pick those out. Yeah. What can I do right here? Just shifts your whole energy into the what instead of the why me, poor me.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. The last tip that I have here is about staying present to what your body's telling you. because your body always does tell you. And we talked a fair bit about this, that it's so important to drop into and honor the guidance that your body's giving you. Because when we get out of whack with the being and doing, because we have to be in order to receive the feelings, the felt sense of, oh, how's my body? Oh, I've got a bit of a pain in the small of my back, or there's a little bit of a stoop in my shoulders, or my posture is a bit off, or my breathing's a bit shallow. But we have to stay here in order to get that intel and honor it. And then we can start doing what it is we're doing. And sometimes we might need to make an adjustment. Showing up authentically and confidently can sometimes say, you know what, I need to change my appointment right now. I need to renegotiate the thing I said I was going to do because I have a reduced bandwidth at the moment.
And that showing up authentically and confidently is having the power behind you. Again, tip number 1, you are the boss of you.
Yep.
So that's our quick summing up with a few little caveats added into it.
Yes, additions.
Thank you, Moira, and thank you, listeners, for doing this. At the start, we did listening to this, sharing. At the start, we did our PEMS, our physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. Now, Moira is a 1.5. I was a 2.5. I had a yawn, so I was a 2.5, and my head just goes, actually, you haven't yawned at all through this whole thing.
No, you haven't.
No, funny. I was like, have I been yawning? I was like, I don't consciously know I've been yawning. So there's just another sign that nothing's in concrete. Nothing is in concrete, and it can move. I mean, in an hour, it's moved for me.
Yeah.
For an hour, I guarantee it's moved for Moira, and I guarantee it's moved for you. We'd like to think you're closer to the 0, but if you've gone the other way, that's totally okay as well. Then there's something going up. So let's find that out. But Moira, where are you? You were a 1.5. Where are you now?
I'm a 0. Because it's funny too, like you're saying about the yawning, my scratchy voice didn't come to anything either.
Nothing. I just actually
just totally fine.
I was like, she had something in her voice. That's it. Yeah. So that's how it goes. And so I'm a 0 as well. Now, we won't be zeros throughout their day. We won't stay as a 0. Just please, everybody know that we won't stay as a 0. There'll be something that will come in, and Moira's nighttime, I'm daytime. So her dreams, hers will come into her dreams, whereas mine will be reality today as I go through my day. But just know these physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual check-ins are not permanent. They're not permanent. So
this is a gift that you give yourself, right? It's a gift.
Yeah, it's a beautiful acknowledging gift. Like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And you don't even have to dig into it. Just go, okay, I'm a 2.5. Yeah, that's it, or a 1.5. So at the start you did that. Halfway through you checked in where you were. Let us know where you are now, because Moira and I have jumped to a 0 both. Moira with her scratchy throat that has done nothing. Deborah with her yawning has done nothing. So I love that. So let us know where you're at. But I just want to, before we wrap up, I want to say, if you liked this, if you liked any aspect of this, to show up authentically and confidently, I can give you my word and I'll give you my word for Moira and I. The next step is reach out to us individually or together, because you are not alone on this journey, and to show up authentically and confidently can be phenomenal for you, but it also can be nerve-wracking. As much as we've tried to give you some tips today, there's a gazillion more.
Yes.
Clearly.
Yes.
There's a gazillion more, but these are the great ones that allow us to get through. So if you really like this, the next step is to reach out to us. You can put them in the comments, reach out, tag us, email us, whatever social media you're on at the moment, or music. You're not alone in this. I really would like to emphasize you're not alone on this journey.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's us. Thanking you for today, the Deliciously Motivated Mindset conversation, to show up authentically and confidently. That's Moira and I today. Thank you, listeners. Thank you, internet. Thanks for your scratchy throat and your yawning, Deborah. Moira, yawning, Deborah. And thank you.
Thank you,
listeners.
Thank you,
Thanks,
listeners.
Moira.
We will catch you next time. Yeah, bye.